Hello, and welcome to another Rouge unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the SPW 204, or otherwise known as the Panhard, available to 352nd, Paris, and SAS Division. So, in the early 1930s, the French cavalry were looking for an armoured fighting vehicle to, use for cavalry and reconnaissance purposes. Many companies would submit a design, but the Panhard, with their 178 design model, would end up winning a production license, and in 1937-38 they would go on and produce the Panhard 178 for the French military. It was mainly handed out to cavalry divisions and mechanized and motorized units, but it was a rather effective little vehicle with a 25mm cannon, not autocannon but a regular tank cannon. It was fast, it was small, it was nimble, and it was pretty well armoured, and the cannon was pretty good for 1938 standards. They would of course see service during the Battle of France, but for a rather limited time, as the battle only really lasted 6 weeks or so. And after the fact, the Germans would end up capturing all their remaining vehicles, keeping some in France for occupation duties, and sending the rest over to the Eastern Front for this so-called invasion of Russia. Now, after the war, after the French military got its crap together, they'd end up getting all the Panhards and sending them over to French Indochina to help with the First Indochina War. In-game, the SPW 204 is a 63-point unit from the Axis and 50 points for the Allies, mainly available in A phase, though 352nd does have some available in B phase, and it has 2 weapons. So the weapon loadout consists of that small 25mm cannon with 5 accuracy, 17 rounds a minute, 5 AP with 90 shots and 1 km range. It's a rather interesting little light cannon. It can't do a lot of penetration, but it shoots really fast, and you still have the 1 km range, which is rather nice. So this is specifically used to kill light vehicles, and that's really it. There's no HCMO to speak of. And then you have a single machine gun, pretty standard stuff. And if we pop down to the Miscellanian stats, it's got 3 frontal armor to its side and 1 at back. And it is an enclosed vehicle. It has bad stealth, a speed of 28 km an hour off the road and 80 km on the road, and high optics capability. In battle, the Panhard is definitely a very interesting little vehicle. It has that gimmick of having a cannon that's not an autocannon, but still shoots pretty bloody fast. With 17 rounds a minute, that's almost 3 shots a minute if we're going by quick maths, which is pretty bloody good. That allows you to shoot the enemy much more than they can shoot you. You can usually get 2 to 3 shots off maybe before the enemy proper tank can get 1 shot off on you. Now, in terms of actual usefulness, though, I wouldn't recommend this for any of the Axis divisions, Paris or 352nd. First off, it's 65 points compared to 50 points for the SAS run, and also because what you're fighting against, as the Allies' armour in A phase is actually pretty good. You've got Stuarts, Cromwells and Shermans, which are all pretty well armoured for the Panhard to fight against. And the Panhard is just not going to be able to do too much against those vehicles. Of course, there's a few half-tracks here and there, but those proper tanks will really stop you from using the Panhard effectively. But for the SAS, it is a must-have unit. Not because it's cheaper and you kind of need the extra armour to help you go in it, but because of what you're fighting against, because the Axis armour, A phase, is pretty lightly armoured. It's mainly just half-tracks and armoured cars with like 2 to 4 frontal armour. And so the Panhard is going to have an absolutely lovely time picking everything off rather easily. Of course, there's a few divisions that actually have proper tanks. It will give you a run for your money, but you know, it's just meant to be like 2nd or trophy sets with the Firefly, for example. But it is so bloody good at knocking out just half-track rushes and really any sort of light vehicle play that the Axis can throw at you. It's definitely one of the hard counters to such play, and it's also rather cheap for 50 points for SAS. You can definitely pick these guys up very easily. But overall, the Panhard is a very fun little unit. It's gimmicky, it's terrible against infantry, of course. This is really only used for dealing with enemy armoured vehicles. But our gimmick can be rather fun when you're just plopping off 25mm shot second after second. And for now, I'm leaving off at yeah, this has been another Rain Rouge unit of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and usual, please just take it easy.